Hey guys, welcome to our first explainer video where I will try to guide you through how a DEX works and how liquidity pools work. So we'll be talking about stuff like price impact, slippage, what happens when you do a trade, why does the price is not always the same as you see on the DEX initially, and why it is different from the ratio or the price stated. We'll also see what impermanent loss means and how you can try and mitigate it a little bit, and why is there even impermanent loss? How does that happen? So let's begin. Here is the KDSwap DEX. There's like 5 trading pairs for now. We'll be adding more. In this section, you can see actually the details for each pool, like the amount of token 1 and token 2, in this case KDA and KDS, and its price, the rate, right? So if we go to the swap and let's look at this. Let's say you want to buy 1 KDS. So 1 KDS gives you this much KDA that you need to pay. And you get the info about price impact, slippage. And now let's say you want to buy 1,000, easier. So let's say I'm not connected, but let's say I would swap this, this 1,000 KDS. I would take them into my wallet and I would expect to pay this much. Now, if by this time that I'm doing the trade, someone else comes along and buys at the same time as I do, or a bit before, so they front run me, what happens to my trade? Does it go through? Does it not go through? Well, that depends on the slippage you input and how much their trade will change the ratio. So if the price changes less than 5% after their trade, my trade will go through. If it changes more than that, my trade will fail. This is what slippage is used for. This is what it does. It tells a smart contract that the price can change up to this value and the transaction should go through. So you can control this on here. You can control the slippage from 0.25 to 20%. People usually mistake this slippage with price impact. The price impact is not related with slippage whatsoever. The price impact is how much the ratio changes regarding the volume you try to change. So if you try to change 1,000 KDS for the KDA, your price will be almost the same as stated, as the ratio currently in the pool. You'll have basically this price. Like, it changes very, very little. But if you start increasing this amount, you can see that the price impact starts to grow. Why is that? Well, as you take more and more KDS, the ratio inside the pool changes. And so you cannot buy all of this KDS at the same price. You need to factor in the fact that the ratio is changing while you are trading. How do you do that? Well, there's something called constant product value, which is a rule that all DEXs use, and that basically states that the product between token 1 and token 2 inside the pool needs to be the same before and after each trade. So every time you do a trade, value of KDS times KDA needs to be the same before and after the trade. Let's look at an example to simplify this. Okay. So I put in here the amount of KDS and KDA in the pool. This was probably before the ratios were different when I did this, but it doesn't matter, it's almost the same, and we can look at it and try to understand it. So this is the amount of KDS, amount of KDA. This is the ratio between the two, so this number divided by this number, and this is the constant product value. So basically it's B6 times B7. This is the number that needs to remain the same before and after the trade. So let's say I will buy 100,000 KDS, okay? So after the trade, the pool has 100,000 less KDS. Okay. How much KDA do I need to put in? Well, that will be given by the constant product value. So this is the new KDS value. So what do? We divide this constant product value, CPV, for the KDS that it's now in the pool. And this is the number you get. So this is the number of the amount of KDA that needs to be in the pool after the trade. Okay. So how much do we pay for the trade? We pay this number subtracted by this number, which is exactly this. Well, actually you pay a little bit more. I can put it here. You should pay this times 0.03, which is the actually 0.003, which is the fee that you need to pay for the liquidity providers. And so it would be this plus this. So this would be the what you would need to pay to get 100,000 KDS. Now, how much different is this from the initial ratio that you were given? Well, it states here 0.83%, but you can actually just do 100,000 times this price, and you can do the fee again, and you can edit again, and you can see that you're paying like 4.5 more. So if you subtract this by this is the amount you're paying extra, right? Which is, I mean, it's not that much, but it's something, right? It's something, and this is basically what you get there, right? If you put it in percentage, and so it's the same, right? Basically, you are paying 0.83% more than the initial ratio would suggest, and this is because you're trading, so you're changing the ratio inside the pool, and you need to pay for that changing in price. Okay, but this is very little, right? This is not a big impact. Now let's see if you buy 1 million KDS, so 10 times more. How does that impact? Well, now you will get 1 million less inside the pool. You still have the same constant product. By the way, this trade never happened. Let's pretend this trade never happened. You still have the same constant product value. And this is the amount of KDA that needs to be inside the pool after your trade. So if you subtract this value to this value, you get this amount of KDA that you need to pay for the trade. And this is the effective ratio and price you pay. Now this gives you a very different number, right? This gives you 9% price impact because, of course, you're trading more KDS, so you're changing the ratio even more as you were in the first case. And this is what price impact means. It means that you are skewing the ratio towards having less of the token you're buying and having more of the token you're selling. And of course, you need to pay for that difference along the way. You cannot just assume that the ratio will be the same for your whole buy. This is the price impact. And if we go to the pool now, this is 100 million KDS, and you can see that this is kind of almost 9%. So there's a little difference because the ratio probably changes well, but this is what you pay. Actually, if you look at the fee, 14.94, and you subtract that, and that's funny, you probably get almost the same amount. So yeah, this is basically how price impact works and why you pay more for each trade you do, and for the volume, the more volume you do, the more you pay. Makes perfect sense. Now let's go to liquidity providing. So in here you can see the liquidity that's in there, and you now understand why it changes for you, because you are offering this liquidity, so it changes for everyone. So when the ratio changes, the amount of token 1 and 2 that you have inside also changes, because when you offer liquidity, you are actually putting your own tokens available for trading. You're saying, here's my million KDS, my 100,000 KDA. Now, if you want to buy KDS, you give me KDA according to the ratio, according to the constant product value, and I will give you KDS. And then someone else comes, oh, I want to sell my KDS for KDA. Okay, give me this much KDS and I'll give you that much KDA. And this is what you're giving. You're being the market maker. You're offering tokens for people to trade. So how does that work in terms of math? Okay, let's imagine, I did this with raw numbers because it's a bit more confusing if we do it with the actual value. So let's say there is a pair with 10 million KDS, 100,000 KDA, and you offered 1% of that. You offer 100,000 KDS and 1,000 KDA. So you have 1% of the pool. What's the ratio inside the pool? So it's 0.01, which means for each KDA, for each KDS, you get 0.01 KDA, or for each KDA, you get 100 KDS, of course. And this is the CPV, the constant product value. This bunch, the one with a bunch of zeros. I don't know if it's a trillion, a billion, doesn't matter. This value. Okay, let's say you added liquidity, right? And someone buys 100,000 KDS. Okay, we'll do the same math, right? You take 100,000 KDS from the pool, you do the calculations for the KDA, minus the fee, and now you put in the fee, which is 0.3%. And now this is the new ratio after the change. Okay, what does that mean for you, the liquidity provider? Now that means that you have this inside the pool now, which is 1% of that, and you have this inside the pool, which is 1% of this. Actually, this is correct, 1% of this. And so your total value in KDA is basically this number, and the value you would have had if you had not provided liquidity. So let's say you have two wallets with 100,000 KDS and 1,000 KDA. You provide liquidity with one, you provide liquidity with the other. This is the amount you have. This is the value in KDA you have on the one you provide liquidity with, if you take out the liquidity. And this is the value you have if you don't provide liquidity with in the other wallet, okay? So basically your impermanent loss is 0.07 KDA. So you would be better off if you had not provided liquidity. But even 0.07 doesn't seem like a lot, right? So let's see another example. Let's say someone buys 1 million KDS. Now all the same rules apply. Values, constant product value. The ratio changes a bit more, as you can see, and you get this for your troubles inside the pool. Now the total value after the trade for you is this, and the total value on the wallet that didn't provide liquidity, it's this. So now you see that you have a 9.83 KDA in impermanent loss. Well, this is, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's 0.4%. So why would you provide liquidity, right? You just lost 4%, and you need to have the hassle of providing liquidity and whatnot. Maybe you just stay with it with the assets in the wallet, right? Now let's see an extreme example. If someone buys 5 million KDS, so half of the pool. First of all, they would have a price impact that's absurdly high, right? This is the ratio they would have to pay for this, okay? Instead of 0.01, so it's 4 times the ratio of the initial pool. But let's assume someone crazy does this, okay? Now, after the trade, this is what you get in KDS and KDA, and this is your value after the trade, and this is the value on the wallet that you did not provide liquidity with. And now you have an impermanent loss of 710 KDA, which is like 15%. So you lose 15% on your assets just by providing liquidity. And now the question I'm sure you're all asking right now is, why should I even provide liquidity in the first place if I'm always going to lose money? Well, you're not always going to lose money. As you know, you are getting something back in the fee. So in this case, just this trade, you got 3 KDA in fee. Of course, it doesn't make up for the 710, but you get 3 KDA. Now, if someone sold back or sold back this KDS and put in again 5 million more, you would have 0 impermanent loss, and you would have won 6 KDA for your troubles. So let's see an example right here in the top. Exactly what I said, but with this example. So someone buys 100k KDS, and now someone else sells, or the same person, doesn't matter, sells 100,000 KDS again. So now your impermanent loss is actual negative, which means you have actually won money on this, right? Because instead of having this amount, if you did not, on the wallet, you did not provide liquidity, you have more, because as the ratio went back to what you had before you provided liquidity. So now you have the same value, let's say, plus the fee. And now let's say this happens 100 times, 100 buys and 100 sales for this value. Now you have a net gain of 3 KDA, right? And you have not lost, no impermanent loss, because the ratio stayed the same. And even if the ratio has changed slightly, let's say you have a lot of trades, the ratio changes a little bit, but there's a large volume of trades, then you get the fees for those trades, and you get net gain in KDA. So basically, what should you think about when providing liquidity? You need to think about this as a bet on future price of an asset over the other. First of all, this impermanent loss happens regardless of the direction. If KDS drops in price, or if KDS goes up in price in regards to KDA, it's the same. It doesn't matter. So what you need to think about is, how do I see the price of this token, and how do I see the volume for this token in 1 month, 2 months? Or if you wanna provide liquidity for a year, how do I see it in 1 year? Will the price be 10 times higher, but the volume will be like in the millions? Well, that may be worth it. So this is, first of all, it's a long-term game. This is better the longer you provide liquidity, because the price fluctuates, but eventually it comes back down and up and down and up, and the volume keeps getting added. So if you provide liquidity and just take it out like a week later because you see you're getting scared because the price is going up or down too much, you're probably losing money, because there's not enough volume for you to make up for the impermanent loss. But if you let it ride for like a year, 2 years, I mean, 1 year or 2 years in crypto it's insane, but for a long time, months, then this doesn't mean as much, because you are getting back in fees. Of course, even with that, we are still looking to solutions to mitigate these impermanent losses. KDX has a fun solution, which I don't believe it will be like a permanent solution, because I don't think they can recycle enough KDX from the fees to give back and compensate impermanent loss forever. But I mean, it's a solution, and we applaud them for that. We are working on our own solutions. We are thinking of farming. We are thinking of automated liquidity distribution through levels, so that you are not exposed all at the same level. We are thinking of a lot of stuff, and I think, I think this is worth discussing. This is worth talking about, and you should not just jump ahead and provide liquidity without knowing what you're doing and without understanding the risks and what you need to do to capitalize on it. So yeah, basically understand that it's a long-term game, and it's not something to do like 2 weeks or 1 month and say, okay, I'm done and I want to see how much I won. It's not how it works. You need to accrue trading volume for it to make up. And so this is basically it. Any questions you guys might have, please drop a comment on the on the comments, of course, and let us know if you like this kind of content. If you would like us to do this more, what would you like to see discussed? And yeah, that's basically it. Don't forget to like the video so that we know that this is something you want us to do more. Subscribe, it helps us, and it also helps you to know when we release more content. And so I hope this was helpful and that you guys learned something new today, and that you can share this with friends and people who are wanting to understand how DEXs work and how liquidity providing works. Okay guys, see you soon.